this far. I'm here to share with you, ladies and gentlemen, how I got to where I am. I find myself going back to the beginning. I have been privileged that the people who raised me never put boundaries on what a girl should do and on what a boy should do. At home, we were given equal opportunities. My father identified the leadership spirit in me and nurtured it. Just like we plant, fertilize the soil, Dad, my father did all that for me. He didn't share from the pavilion. He bought for me books. He opened the horizon into my thinking. My father continues to inspire me. My father launched me into a leader that is talking to you today. So leadership must be nurtured, and leadership should start from a given opportunity, the backgrounds where we come from. It starts with our parents. It starts how we are raised up when growing up. Now, someone might want to ask a question. Why do we have few women in leadership positions? And my answer is plain and simple. To some extent, we have few women in leadership positions because most of us women or ladies fear to show up. We fear to compete for positions of leadership. Definitely, if you don't offer yourself, there is no way you're going to be voted. There is no way you're going to be identified. In most cases, ladies who aspire, even when they don't make it, even when they are not voted for, when an opportunity arises, those women, those ladies are always identified and given some leadership positions. I have a confession to make. I have a confession to make that you will never know how high you can climb until you try climbing. You don't have to wait for opportunities to be available to you. These days, there's scarcity in opportunities. When these days of scarcity came, I didn't only watch. I stood up and took action. You actually don't need a title to be a leader. You can create a leadership position. And allow me to tell you about my story, that between 2012 and 2015, there were no elections in Uganda. I was done with campus. I didn't hold any leadership position. I was unemployed. So I decided to form an umbrella that brought together all the unemployed youths in Uganda. That umbrella was called National Association of the Unemployed. We fought for the rights of the unemployed. This was purely voluntary. This was purely voluntary. And no girl child or male child should ever attach payment to political leadership, for this is the curse that is killing our country. If you're an aspiring leader, if you're a leader that wants to transition up to, you should never be by money. All those leaders inspired by money, they were inspired by the passion to lead. They are inspired by the passion. By the way, there are no fixed rules of going higher. Like me, you can start from where you are with the little that you have. When I joined Makara University in 2009, I found when the FDC chapter was in shambles. The structure was weak. There was nothing to show that FDC existed. I mobilized, first of all, starting with my fellow first years. I moved from one faculty to another. I moved from hall to hall, and together with those first years, we formed a vibrant FDC chapter. Now there's this growing tendency of leaders from institutions of higher learning coming to help me, take me to Besije, help me take me to Chagulanyi, help me take me, they want to be taken to these senior leaders in positions. Now for me, my method was different. I didn't look for anyone. I didn't look for Besije. I didn't look for Ingrid. I didn't look for Amanya Mushega.
These are the participants.
Name them. Now these people were watching attending Nyandra in Makere University, mobilizing students against the injustices in this country. They all look for me. So when you do good, people want to identify you, and people always look for you.
Maybe tell me we're losing you.
You need to be consistent, you need to be principled and leaders. We are also approached by NRM leaders, but we don't know.
Amen.
Do you hear me?
Yeah, we can get you now.
As young and upcoming leaders, you must learn to speak truth to power. Currently, we are living in an environment where it pays so much financially to be vague and deceitful. Telling lies about power relations in this country, or even selling from one political party to another pays more. We are just from an election where so many candidates, including women, withdrew from races because of money. What do you think happens to the hopes and aspirations of the people that they were leading? Every time you're about to stumble, think about the people and not about my
No, but
experiences
when
on
you
this
try for the
platform.
first time, of course,
However
they show you
difficult
the right and the
moment
wrong ones. So you go
in
on
the
the wrong
country.
ones, you change.
Some of them life-threatening. For anyone willing to transition, they must be able to face tough times that better leaders are built. When you successfully maneuver through these challenges that I'm going to tell you, then you graduate and therefore you're ready for transition. Now, our societal and historical backgrounds favor patriarchy. Let it be in church, let it be in mosques, cultural institutions, men are favored. Talk about reverends, bishops, imams, chiefs, name them. Now, this has created a scenario where it takes a woman face the courage of a man to come out and offer herself to run for leadership positions. Even for the courageous women like me that step up, society continues to think that we are making it because of our beauty and feminine attributes. Now, what stops other leaders from transitioning? There is domestic suppression, where our husbands and boyfriends put tough rules that disable us from participating in leadership. A case in point, We all know that political meetings usually during campaigns end very late in the night. Now our counterparts, the males, for them, they can go up to midnight at night. But for you as a female, you're expected to be home early. This goes back to even for us who are still staying with our parents. For a boy, it's okay, he can come back at midnight. But for a girl, you find this has left us behind. Now, there's another thing which I want to talk about, which is a bit personal, or what I have encountered, part of my experiences. I'm a product of violence. I have been beaten, I have been manhandled, I have been molested, I have been brutally arrested and detained. I have been detained more than 15 times. And definitely this scares away other ladies who would have rather joined leadership positions. It would be very unfair if I lodge into my conclusion without saying thank you to the African Leadership Institute, especially the Honorable David Pulkol, who even when he's retired from active politics, continues to engage and inspire young leaders. He has continued to groom young leaders, and this country so much desires that. I also cannot forget their partners, UMI, Fit Insights, DGF, which in this case is facing challenges supporting local entities, such as inspiring young leaders. DGF needs to remain firm because we are here to stand with them. I would like to state that the journey into leadership phase is not easy. But like I've already stated, we need not to give up the fight. We need to pick inspiration from leaders that have come before us. I'll always be here to inspire all of you young people, and you can always count on me. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Deputy Lord Mayor. I have a few questions that have been sent to you that you react on, but there are people who have raised their hands. Maybe we shall first have those ones before I read down these ones. If I call on your name, just unmute, make your submission, and we go on to the next. I'm seeing Sheila Chobutunji. Sheila Chobutunji, please unmute and make your submission. If Sheila is not there, I'm also seeing Alinda Alex. Alinda Alex?
Okay.
Go ahead.
Thank you, me.
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello. Okay. I'm having one challenge from what her lordship submits. Because if the ladies really go up and take up and always tell us, no, we need opportunities, we need to get this, it becomes different because one, we need to change society to make sure that they fight for themselves and they show that they are really able. Actually, what I think is taking that behind is when you find someone comes up and then you say, no, let's create this for the ladies, let's create this positions for the ladies. That takes down the entire debate. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. Your concern is noted. Let me have, can I see? I'm seeing Kakuru Martin. Please unmute and go ahead, make your submission.
Thank you very much. Ladies and men, I want to.
That's why I told Mary to go in CCF. But then maybe why is the charger and you can take
Doreen. Doreen has inspired many, and I'm inclusive. And I want to add on her words that Some of our friends, the female friends, some fear to contest on leadership positions because in their constituencies, maybe if they are not married, the people in the constituency keep saying, this one is not married. And if we give her our mandate, what if she gets married to another constituency? And such words, they do discourage females from contesting. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Martin. That's an interesting observation. I'm seeing Chris Diana. You have a submission to make. I see your hand is raised. Chris Diana. If Chris Diana is not there, is Sheila Chobutunji on? Okay, let's have Lydia Kebirunji. Lydia.
Yes, thank you, moderator. Yes, my name is Lydia. Yes, I'm resigning as chairman for Palhol Chamber University. Thanks, Miss Nyanjura, for inspiring ladies and talking to us. That was really a great move, hearing your story. But there is this one challenge. You know, yes, it might not be easy. Politics is hard, campaigning and all that. But there's this challenge of you're a young girl and you're getting involved with, you're associated with old guys, men older. And you know how older men can act. They want to in all corners. They want to, like, for someone to help you, they want something else in exchange for their help. So how would you advise us, the ladies, especially who are also planning to participate in national politics? Because it's a very big challenge. Some ladies, yes, will want to do that, but they sometimes shy away because when these old men are disturbing you and all that, it becomes challenging, and sometimes you decide to give up or to just let go. It's not all about that we fear all that, but there are many ladies who would like to take up those positions, but it is challenging because of the people. So what tactics can you give us so that when we're there or when we're trying to take that path, we can be able to handle what comes with it. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, Lydia. And maybe in connection to that, Ms. Nyanjura, you can also add this question. Someone has asked, how have you dealt with male mentors on your path, on your political path? We find that very many mentors who are male ask for other things. So how have you dealt with male mentors? In relation to what Lydia has asked, someone sent me that question to ask you. Let me have Innocent Arinaite. Please unmute and make your submission.
Thank you very much, moderator, for the opportunity. I hope I can be heard well.
Yes, you can be heard.
Okay, I'm Innocent Arenitwe from Mara University. I thank the moderator for the heraldship for the submission. I'm also one of the people fighting for gender equality, but there is one thing that disturbs me somehow. In the fight for gender equality, we are now, I may say, going beyond, because we still have those reserved things for ladies. I would like to have her comment about maybe the district woman MP positions. There are those which can be justified, like the 1.5 added on 2 girls when joining higher institutions, but that for district woman MP may not be justified. Maybe let me get her comment. Thank you.
Thank you, Innocent. And maybe again, in relation to that same question, Ms. Nyanjura, also add this one. Someone is asking, isn't it time we rethink affirmative action, as some of the females who have been empowered for over 20 years have stuck on affirmative elective positions? Isn't it time us women start empowering each other? That's someone who asked that in the chat section. You could also relate it with Innocent's question. Let me I'm seeing so many men. I don't know where the ladies are. Let me have Kakoza Alex. Please unmute and make your submission. Kakoza Alex, if you're not there, let me have Geoffrey Tumsime. Geoffrey Tumsime.
Oh, yeah, thank you very much. I'm Geoffrey Tumusime from Hoima.
Yes.
And mine is just to thank the presenter, Her Worship Doreen Nyanjura, because she really inspires very many young girls and ladies every day. And I keep on following her with the courage she has and the effort she makes in seeing fighting for the equality of ladies and everybody, gender equality. And what I can add on that is the courage she displays. Opportunity always comes for those who are ready to take it up. And I'm trying to encourage all the young girls, the young ladies, always to be courageous and not to be threatened or diverted by some petty issues, but always to be focused, like Her Worship, what she does always. Thank you very much.
Marvin, I think it's proper to let me first answer those questions.
All right, you can go ahead.
I should go ahead, and thank you, learn that I'm one of the few ladies that some of you look up to. Now, there's a prominent question, and that question is to do with sexuality. When you encounter men, bigger, older men, how do you tackle that? Now, to start with, men that ask for sex advances from you cannot be called mentors. Honestly speaking, we need to get another word for such men. They cannot be called mentors. A mentor is someone who should inspire you. A mentor is someone you should learn from. So if someone is asking for sex from you, it is wrong for you to call such a person a mentor. And actually, such people should be abandoned with immediate effect. Well, the thing is, how do we tackle this? When men approach you and you show them you're not interested in them, and you show them that your aspirations are beyond offering your bodies to them, they will definitely let go of you, and they will learn to respect you. For me, that is how I've handled it. Eventually, they learn to respect me. But if they come to you, if they approach you and you show them that you can give them a window for them to sleep with you, then definitely they'll have to use you. So as young leaders, you need to show these males, that you're focused on the sex advances they are trying to engage you. Ladies on than 20 years, I should say that is so disheartening. It is sad. And for me, I can never look up to such leaders. And I think if we had a functional parliament, they would have suggested, or if they have not yet suggested, I can suggest to them that we need to put term limits on how long one should hold positions of leadership. These are female positions, because it doesn't, at the end of the day, make sense. You don't need 20 years for you to be empowered. So term limits should be introduced for these positions so that you're there for 10 years, go and aspire for something bigger, right? Many of us probably know Ingrid Turinau. She has been contesting against males, the direct seat. Now, many have misinterpreted them to mean seats for men. And when many people approached her and told her, you can go for the female seat, Ingrid told them, no, I have been empowered. I have been liberated beyond contesting for seats for women. I am now going for the direct seat. And I think partly that is what has cost her. But if we had term limits, I believe, honestly speaking, probably should be somewhere there. I think there's another question which was asked by Alex, Now, this is something, Alex, that I have personally made comments on, the issue of creating positions for us women. And my argument or my question has been, is this actually a way of empowering us, or it is a way of stereotyping against us? So, you know, everything has pros and cons. And recently I was in Makere, students that were given the 2.5, you know, were being made fun of. You admitted in Makere with a 2.5. Chainacho Tugamba, let me say it that way, and eventually they felt discriminated. However, from my presentation, me, I was quite clear. Me, I'm inspiring ladies not to restrict themselves, not to put limits on themselves. That's why I'm encouraging them to read books just like the males do. That is why I'm encouraging them to take up leadership positions just like the males do. So of course, there is still a lot we have to do, and this is still work in progress. Because you also look at the alternative. If we removed the 2.5, how many women, how many ladies are we going to have in our lecture rooms? So if we find out that the advantages are outweighing the disadvantages, then we can say we leave the 2.5 because in the long run, it is a way of empowering women. Thank you. I hope I've answered all the questions.
Yes, the ones that were asked, you've tried to answer all of them. If you have any other submission, just raise your hand. I'm going to call you. Kakoza Alex, are you on? If you're on, unmute and give your submission. If not, please lower your hand. Let me have Juliet Chinjahamtima.
Thank you very much, the day's host, and honorable for the submissions. They have been so good and educative. I just want to comment about the 1.5 that boys have always talked about every now and then. I'm one of the beneficiaries of it. So it is, I actually encourage you to keep there. Reason being, if you come to my class, it's engineering, you'll find that we're about 10% of the gents. Total population, girls are just 10%. Without the 1.5, I doubt I would be there. So what percentage would be there?
And hence you'd be disempowered.
Thank you. And then number two, I think we are now crying for gender equality and not equity. I do not go for gender equality. Reason being, we cannot be like men. But if we go for gender equity, I believe it would be much better. And that when they were introducing the 1.5, it was not for equality, it was for equity. One gets what they deserve and not one to be like the other. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Juliet. However, I think the discussion of gender equity is quite a big one that we cannot exhaust today. Let me have Ninsima. Ninsima, unmute and make a submission. Ninsima Pinkrel. If Ninsima is not online, let's have Moses Ocheng.
Yes, thank you so much, the forum. Our discussion is very important, and I want to remind every lady in the house and in the discussion about our current state minister, that is Honorable Achieng Opend. When she first came into politics, she was discouraged on the same ground. She wasn't married by then. So people told her, we will not vote for you because we don't even know what you'll do with this constituency. And by then, in fact, she came as the woman MP for the district. So people discouraged her and everything. So they didn't give her the votes. In 2000, in the following term, she came contested and she was voted for. And people have never regretted. So because of that resilience, she didn't give up because of the discouragement of the people. She moved on, and right now, people are not regretting. People really love, politics, much as keeps changing, but from that courage and self-motive that she had. Now she's a leader and everyone can talk about her. Thank you.
Thank you, Moses. Maybe
Thank
Ms.
you,
Nyanjura,
Moses.
in relation to
Yeah.
that, there's someone who had asked that marriage in up-country politics, for a female to contest, you have to be married. Otherwise, you risk not being voted. And I think that is an example of what I think you can address your mind on that just now.
Well, I can address my mind on that. And I would love to say that I'm not married, but honestly speaking, I have leadership credentials that are more befitting, even more than for those that are married. So it is very wrong to judge someone's capability on grounds of that person being married or not. Actually, in my presentation, I already gave an example that one of the things that is holding back ladies, it's their husbands. It's the boyfriends, and it's most especially the husbands. When you go out there, they don't want to see you talking to other males and all that. So it is wrong to judge someone's capability basing on her marital status. And like I have said, we have to break the odds. We have to tell people that it's actually possible for one to be a good leader even when they are not married. The example which Moses has just given. So marriage is not a certificate to leadership like I've seen
You're not
idiots
welcome
here
for that
talking
matter.
about.
For that matter.
So really for me that is wrong. It is misleading. And that is one of the cultures that.
All right, thank you. Let me have Xavier. Okay, before Xavier, before, maybe Juliet has a reply on that issue.
Yes, about marriage, like she has just said, and I chatted in the inbox, marriage is no certificate. When we come to university, we have found ladies that have effectively led. When you go to Mbara University of Led, it's a lady that beat up all those guys. She is not married. So do not expect that when she gets into national politics and she's not married, maybe she will no longer lead, because these men actually do not contribute. Some of them do not contribute much to what we always give back to the community. Yes, I'm a leader at university. I may have no man, I'm not married. I may have no boyfriend, and I've made it. So do not expect me to lose what I am doing because I am not married when it comes to national politics. And I think Honorable is another example we can take up. She's doing it best. She has beat men, and she will do it even when she's not married. I think we need to get out of that thinking of marriage is maybe going to make you give public better. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Juliet, for that submission. Felt quite emotional. Let's have Xavier Utandika.
Thank you, Honorable, and everybody in this meeting. Honorable, you talked about sexual harassment. It's really a big issue. Most girls have been culprits. And my request to you, Honorable, is that if you can see how you can push for structural solutions to these problems, so that if someone is sexually harassed and the case is reported, some serious punishments are given so that it can be a starting point to end of that. Then also, I thank you, Honorable, for encouraging our girls and the female region and showing them the examples of that they can make it and stand against these men and even win them. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Xavier. Let me have Nisima. Nisima.
Yeah, good morning. First of all, Nyanjula was talking about term limits, and I'm asking myself, why is she still in the city hall? She has been in Makere ever since what campus, and up to now she's still there. Why can't she advance to parliament like how Adeke has done. Adeke has been in parliament. From there, he has gone to Soroti as a woman MP. So when we are talking about term limits, we should not look at only MPs. Let's start from the ground here. You find someone has been in City Hall or in the council for 20 years, 30 years, and when they want to push these MPs to the wall. Then about the marriage thing, I was in an election as a city councillor. I know what it means. Whoever you approach wants sex first. Whoever you need, like you need some help, they will tell you, give me, I give you money. And you wonder, are we the sex objects of today? Definitely we are not. So what Doreen is talking about is we girls, we should stand firm, because when we don't stand firm, that's when we are going to be used and dumped. You find you are in an election, you're going to be used, and even at the end you find you've lost. But when you stand firm and you're like, I'm going to finance myself financially, I'm going to stand with myself, then there you can move to the higher grades. But when you say, I'm going to rely on friends, I'm going to rely on these MPs, you know, these MPs, most of them are married, but they are the sex object in that parliament. Go have friends in that parliament. They will tell you the stories, how people sleep with each other, and yet they are married. So to me, I think marriage is nothing when it comes to leadership. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Maybe Honorable Nyajo,
So much.
please respond.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Marvin. I think I've been in activism for so long. I think I started my activism at a tender age. Now people mistake me to having been in a leadership for a very long time. Now I just wanted to put the record straight that actually I'm currently serving my first term as the LC5 Woman Councillor, Makere University. This is my second term and probably the last term. So it is not true that I've been in Makere University as a councillor for so long. That, honestly speaking, is passionate about the issues that concern Makere University, whether it is the students, whether it is the lecturers. That even when I left Makere University as a student leader, I still fought for those students, I still fought for lecturers, I still fought for justice. And this is what I was talking about, that you don't have to have a leadership title for you to fight for people. So I'm just putting the record straight that I've actually not been in this position for 20 years or 10 years. I've only been in this position. Thank you.
Thank you. I think that the record has been put straight. Let me have Fred. Fred, make your submission. Unmute and make your submission. Fred is not there. Is Martin on?
Hello.
Oh, go ahead.
Yes. Thank you very much, Marvin, and the host. As the host and Nanjura. I have followed Nanjura for some time now, and what I like about her is the zeal she portrays. I think, to me, in my opinion, women are already empowered. But the only challenge we have in this country is women are not given opportunities. Women are not fully trusted. So they are able. It is not like they lack empowerment. Women are individually empowered. But the only challenge is they are not being given opportunities to show their potential. And there are so many things that people take women for in terms of being weak, in terms of inability to deliver. But we have seen women who have delivered in different positions more than men. And these are some of these factors are cultural, the traditions that people believe in certain societies. But I think, to me, we should have and a program that goes back to change society mindset on women. Because I think our society do not yet understand the ability of women, and the perception they have on women is still wanting, and they need to be helped. Some of them are completely ignorant, and these are our communities. So we need to inform our communities that the story is not what they believed before about the traditions. Women can do better, and they need to be helped to up their game, to improve and raise up and give their girls an opportunity. Before, women were not going to school. They were taken as workers, garden, housewives. But today, women are raised and they have gone to school like men, meaning that they are at the same platform, but they are not being entrusted with the positions. And I think that would be the direction that women who have rose to occasion should be advocating for, and also men should join the women. And
Thank
the
you,
most
Fred.
challenging, my second opinion is, I think what makes also outstanding is raising up from a very disadvantaged political ground in the country. Raising up as a woman, as a young woman, and the opposition is one thing that we should also thank her for, and also it should be a call on government, because you find that women are shy to raise up to their ability because they want to associate with opposition. But the treatment given to those in opposition is the one thing, is completely uncalled for and very unfortunate in the country. That is why you find women who have the same mindset to change this country, and they will want to associate with opposition, shying away because of the treatment given to other political parties and other political grounds in form of opposition. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Fred, for that submission. So we have less than 20 minutes to get out of here, but I think Nisima had a reply. I don't want to go before she. Nisima, do you have a reply? I see your hand up. No, I think she doesn't. Then Alex. Nothing. So maybe, Ms. Nyanjua, there are a few things I need to respond to. One, they're asking, you talked about growing up with no boundaries. Someone asked, how do you deal with parents who are not interested in their girl or daughter participating in politics, even when your interest is in politics? How did you deal with that? I think there's someone who is facing the same situation. Then someone else is talking about the societal background. I think we've had a conversation on this, marriage and all that. But then they're also asking you to make a comment on the youth elections. Is it really necessary anymore to have youth MPs in parliament, considering that the majority of the electorate is youth in nature, and also the MPs that are elected in parliament are already youth? Is it really necessary to have youth MPs? Yeah, so those are the only two issues you can comment on.
Thank you very much. And I would love to start with your question of how to deal with parents that are uncomfortable with having their children be in being in leadership positions. I believe we can find someone to talk to our parents. For example, we have aunties, most likely we have friends, or most likely there are even area leaders that even these parents participate in putting into these offices. So you can approach them and they will talk to your parents. And I have no doubt that at the end of the day, your parents will see the need of you being in that leadership position. And you can also be firm, and this is where I was going. When I was arrested in 2012 and taken to Luzira prison, where I spent 2 weeks, my dad told me, I now want you to be off the streets. I want you to do away with the demonstrations. And yet initially, this is the person who was encouraging me, building me and all that. I remember I came to LDC court and he told me, you now need to take a break, because he was receiving very many phone calls of how they are going to kill me, how I'm opposing the regime and all that, But I stood my ground because I knew my father really has someone who inspired me. I knew he wanted me to be a leader, but he was scared that most likely one day I was going to be killed. But for me, I stood my ground. Now, when I stood my ground and he saw me going places, my father came back and continued inspiring me. And I can say that today, most likely he does not regret me not taking his advice of doing away with demonstrations and of thinking that I would be killed. Because at the end of the day, being brave is a choice. At the end of the day, we all cannot hide ourselves under our beds when our country is in a crisis. At the end of the day, some of us have to offer leadership. So we need to make our own independent choices. Of course, this goes back to even in terms of our academics. For example, my father is a scientist. And I believe most likely he would have so much loved me to be a scientist like him. He tried to teach me math, he tried to teach me physics, but things didn't work out, right? And I had to do subjects that I was comfortable with, subjects that I could pass. So it's not good to defy our parents, but where necessary, I believe we have to take that direction. Thank you.
Maybe also make a comment on the youth election. Is it necessary to still have youth MPs in parliament, considering that the biggest part of the population is youth-led?
Well, personally, I think it could be necessary because if you're voted as a youth MP, you're supposed to pay special attention to the needs that are affecting the youths. Now, the challenge that we have, we do not vote into leadership, youths that have the aspirations, youths that know the pain, or youths that can represent the interests of young people. And I've taken my time to understand the process of these youth elections. Most of the times, maybe save for Adeke Ann and Gerard Karuhanga, most of the times, youths have fallen for money. They vote for money. They don't vote for leaders who are capable. And I can give you my example. In 2016, I actually wanted to contest as a youth MP representing Western Uganda. I went and talked to some of my mentors. By then I went to Major John Kazora, I should be knowing him, the author of Betrayed by My Leader. And I told him, Elder, I want to contest as a youth MP, Western Uganda. His first question was, how much money do you have? And I told him I have 10,000. That is the only money that I had. So he told me, one of my son's friends is contesting in this election, and the father has already secured 1 billion for this election. So what choice was I left with? I was left with a choice of going to Makerere University because after all, it was easier for me to win there. So as young people, we need to start voting for leaders who are capable in these youth elections and not necessarily voting for money. And that is why you find most of these youth leaders even come from one party, majority of them, because it is this party that has money from our state coffers, and they have what it takes to buy this, to buy voters, and they end up having puppets in
They
parliament.
can't have time to
Thank
start
you.
complaining. I'm like, hey, my money is that. No.
Thank you. Maybe Honorable, Brother, Her Lordship, you could make your concluding remarks because our time is fast spent now.
Thank you very much, Marvin, and to all listeners. In conclusion, therefore, I would like to state that the journey into leadership phase in which you are is not an easy one. It's even worse as one tries to transition from student leadership into national leadership, and especially for young girls and women. This process of transiting, I must let you know, has so many casualties. For us, many of these casualties have been results of conditions beyond their control. Many more have been because they chose money over principles, chose fear over courage, and also chose comfort over temporary discomfort. I have colleagues who have suffocated their leadership potential because they wanted to drive nice cars and buy the latest clothes, but they forgot that those material things were only temporary. And these days I see them struggling, even worse than some of us. There is an acute shortage of leadership in our country. And for us to move our country to the next level, I urge all of you to stick to the principles of the common good as opposed to the personal good. I urge you to think about the ordinary and oppressed people who count on you to fight for them as they struggle to uplift themselves out of these difficult situations. Remember, we are a society that raises and falls as one. Let us lead our society so we can rise together and make our country a better place for God and my country. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nyanjura. It's been an honor to have you on our sessions. We have these sessions weekly. And having reached you on short notice, you managed to make time for us this week. We're very grateful as Africa Leadership Institute. And we also urge you to keep inspiring the young women there. According to the feedback here, very many are inspired by you. And it's a very good thing. You also inspire men, which is also good. And therefore, we
Thank
also
you.
hope for the best for you. And we can also say your journey probably has just begun. And all the best for you.
Definitely.
I also like to thank our participants who have been online with us today. For those who have been in the waiting room for long, sorry, but the meeting room got full and we had to wait for someone to leave so as to let in another. So for those who have been in the waiting room for quite some time, we're sorry about that. But the presentation has been live on Facebook, so you can go and check it out. We shall also share it via your emails. Otherwise, we wish you a great weekend and we shall communicate for our next session. Thank you very much, everyone. And the session is adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.